In their
Order. Time has expired. I give the call to the member for Braddon.
Deputy Speaker, I thank the member for High Marsh for bringing this motion to this chamber. As a member representing an island state, a reliable shipping service and maritime industry is absolutely crucial. Over 99% of Tasmania's freight volumes are moved by sea, 12.5 million tonnes of freight through the main ports and another 2.4 million out of Port Latta. Tasmania is well serviced by 3 Australian-owned and crewed shipping companies, Toll, Sea Road and TT Line. Our stevedoring companies, who are critical in the supply chain, also play a very pivotal role. At sea and on shore, it is important the workforce, customers and community are not manipulated for a commercial gain. I am pleased our maritime operations do the right thing. I wish I could say the same about the foreign shipping companies that visit Tasmania. As recent as July this year, a foreign flag ship, the Xing Ning Hai, was detained in Devonport over the non-payment of hundreds of thousands of dollars to its Chinese crew, $338,400 to be precise. This is unfortunately too commonplace, and on an all too regular basis we see examples just like this. Sadly, in Australia, our oceans workers are being manipulated, as evidenced by these events in Devonport in July, but this exploitation is also commonplace in international ports. One such company responsible for this exploitation is the Philippines-based global port operator International Container Terminal Services Inc., or ICTSI. They have gained a foothold in Australia at Webb Dock in Melbourne thanks to the former Victorian Liberal government, granting its subsidiary VICT a contract. A report launched last month by the International Transport Workers Federation raises a number of serious questions that this parliament should be addressing, and it's disturbing there is not one government member speaking on this motion. The report found ICTSI operate in some of the poorest and exploited nations in the world. They use their Australian operation to somehow demonstrate they are a legitimate operation. But when you operate in Sudan, Syria and Congo, that cannot be the case. The report found ICTSI's workers are underpaid and overworked, harassed and coerced. Workers face violence and intimidation in retaliation for raising workplace issues. What the report also found is that ICTSI proudly proclaims its presence in developing nations with questionable regimes is good for business. The ITF report contains a quote from Enrique K. Razon, Chairman and President of ICTSI, which I shall now read into Hansard. Africa is a very good place for us. There is very little competition and they need the investment badly. Returns are best there with high yields in the handling business. To handle a box in our terminal in Yantai in China, we charge about $45 to $50. The same container in Africa easily goes for $200 to $250. And who ultimately pays for this? The people, which is just unacceptable. Fortunately, ICTSI has not set foot in Tasmania. However, with the former state Liberal government in Victoria awarding them a contract, we need to be vigilant that the Tasmanian state Liberal government does not do the same. What we need is a set of principles that foreign-owned companies who want to operate in Australia must adhere to. While I am very confident the community would not tolerate this sort of exploitative practices we have seen from ICTSI in third world countries, I believe governments in developed nations like Australia should play a number of roles. Firstly, we should not allow companies to legitimise their international operations by operating in Australia with such a record, whilst at the same time exploiting some of the poorest people in the world. Secondly, our political leadership should be doing everything they can at an international level to put pressure on companies like ICTSI to change the way they operate. And thirdly, there should be a full and proper investigation as to how a company with such practices was allowed to gain a foothold in Australia. By any reasonable standard, the exploitation of developing nations and their people is abhorrent. It is intolerable, and I commend the ITF and Member for High Marsh for bringing this issue to the attention of the Parliament, and it's just shameful that members of government are not speaking on this important motion. Thank you.